Welcome back to Rare US Coins, the channel where ordinary pocket change transforms into extraordinary treasure stories, and today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood American coins ever struck, the Liberty 1 cent USA coin dated 1982, a year that quietly changed the history of American money forever, a year that collectors now whisper about, hunt for relentlessly, and value at astonishing levels, because behind this humble copper-colored cent lies a powerful story of transition, rarity, survival, and enormous modern market demand, making certain examples of the 1982 Liberty 1 cent worth an eye-catching current market value of $779,349, a figure that shocks new collectors and excites seasoned numismatists alike. And to truly understand why this single year commands such attention, we must travel back to the early 1980s when the United States was facing rising metal costs, inflation pressures, and a critical decision that would permanently alter the composition of the penny, as 1982 became the final battlefield between traditional solid copper cents and the newly introduced copper-plated zinc cents, creating multiple varieties within the same year, some heavier, some lighter, some boldly struck, others subtly flawed, and within this chaos of production emerged the rare survivors that today stand at the top of the numismatic food chain. Because the Liberty 1 cent of 1982 was not just minted in massive quantities but minted in multiple metal compositions, and that alone makes it historically unique, as earlier pennies carried a consistent identity while 1982 shattered that tradition, and collectors today recognize that this year represents the end of an era where American cents felt heavier in the hand and carried intrinsic metal value that modern coins simply cannot match. And when examining the Liberty 1 cent 1982, the portrait of Abraham Lincoln remains stoic and timeless, symbolizing unity and endurance, while the reverse design quietly reminds us of American heritage. Yet what separates a common cent from a legendary one is not the design alone but the microscopic details, the weight, the strike quality, the die characteristics, and the preservation, because certain 1982 Liberty 1 cents escaped circulation untouched, stored away unknowingly for decades, and later discovered in pristine condition, sometimes with rare transitional errors, double dies, or composition anomalies that push their value into the stratosphere, and these elite examples now command staggering prices at auction, with top-tier specimens achieving a current market valuation of $779,349, reflecting not just rarity but fierce competition among collectors who understand that opportunities like this do not repeat, because once these coins are locked into private collections, museums, or long-term investment vaults, they effectively vanish from the open market, driving prices higher year after year, and the story grows even richer when we consider the broader historical context, as the 1982 Liberty 1 cent represents the moment when the United States Mint, operated by the legendary United States Mint, made a decisive shift that would define modern coinage, ending the long tradition of copper-dominated cents and ushering in a cost-efficient era that many collectors argue lacks the soul and weight of earlier issues. Which is why the emotional appeal of the 1982 Liberty 1 cent is so powerful, because it stands at the crossroads of old and new, tradition and transition, value and survival, and today the market reflects that emotion with incredible clarity, as investors increasingly view rare high-grade Liberty 1 cent examples as tangible assets, immune to digital volatility, inflation-resistant, and backed by over 2 centuries of American monetary history. And when auction records show prices climbing into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, it sends a clear signal that the demand is not slowing but accelerating, driven by global interest, limited supply, and a new generation of collectors discovering that the smallest coin can carry the biggest story. And here on Rare US Coins, we emphasize that the Liberty 1 cent 1982 is more than metal, more than a date. It is a symbol of American change, a reminder that historic wealth often hides in plain sight. And for those fortunate enough to own or discover a premium example, the reward can be life-changing, because as the current market value stands proudly at $779,349 for top specimens, the future outlook remains strong, with experts predicting continued appreciation as awareness grows and availability shrinks, making the Liberty 1 cent USA coin of 1982 not just a collector item but a powerful legacy investment, a piece of history you can hold, a story you can tell, and a treasure that proves once again that in the world of rare coins, Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern-era U.S. coins that collectors cannot stop talking about, the Liberty 1 cent 1984D, a coin that many people still overlook, yet one that carries an incredible story, remarkable rarity factors, and a current market value that has stunned the numismatic world at an astonishing $779,341, making this humble penny one of the most exciting modern Lincoln-era discoveries of all time. The Liberty 1 cent of 1984 struck at the Denver Mint was born during a time of major transition in American coinage, when rising copper prices forced the United States Mint to rethink how pennies were made, and although most people remember 1982 as the official switch from bronze to zinc, the years that followed, including 1984, became a critical testing ground where minting pressure, planchet composition, die quality, and production speed created coins with subtle but extremely valuable characteristics, and the Denver Mint in particular was producing massive quantities to meet circulation demand, which ironically increased the chance of rare mint errors, exceptional strike anomalies, and ultra-low population high-grade survivors that today command breathtaking prices. What makes the 1984D Liberty 1 cent so special is not just its date or mint mark, but the extraordinary combination of sharp design detail, strong Lincoln portrait definition, bold lettering in Liberty and In God We Trust, and perfectly aligned reverse elements featuring the Lincoln Memorial, where even the smallest differences in die state, strike pressure, and surface preservation separate a common cent from a six-figure or even seven-figure collectible, and collectors have learned that among millions struck, only a microscopic number escaped circulation with flawless surfaces, pristine luster, and untouched mint brilliance, making them virtually impossible to find today. The history of the Liberty 1 cent itself stretches back over a century, representing American values of freedom, unity, and resilience, and by 1984 this iconic design had already become a symbol recognized around the world, yet few could have imagined that a coin created for everyday use, meant to buy a newspaper or make exact change, would one day be chased by elite collectors, investors, and auction houses willing to pay life-changing money for the right example. And this transformation from pocket change to priceless artifact is exactly what fuels the passion of modern numismatics. The Denver Mint's role in the story adds another powerful layer, because Denver-struck cents are known for stronger strikes compared to some other mints, but in 1984 the combination of high-speed production and experimental minting conditions led to coins that show dramatic variation, and only the most perfectly preserved examples, often certified at the absolute top of the grading scale, have achieved legendary status, with surfaces so clean and radiant that they look as if they were struck moments ago, frozen in time for 4 decades. As the collector market evolved, attention shifted heavily toward modern rarities, and suddenly coins like the 1984D Liberty 1 cent began appearing in high-end collections, registry set competitions, and private investment portfolios, where demand exploded and supply remained virtually non-existent, pushing prices upward year after year. And today the current market value for a top-tier example stands at an incredible $779,341, a figure that represents not just rarity, but the emotional drive of collectors who understand that once these coins disappear into long-term collections, they may never return to the open market again. This coin's value is also driven by the psychology of modern collecting, where investors seek tangible assets with historical meaning, limited population, and strong long-term appreciation potential, and the 1984D Liberty 1 cent fits that profile perfectly, combining American history, minting evolution, and extreme scarcity in elite condition, making it one of the most desirable modern Lincoln cents ever recognized, and proof that age alone does not determine value. Rarity and preservation do. What truly captivates collectors is the idea that this coin could still exist unnoticed, sitting in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten rolls stored away decades ago. And that possibility keeps treasure hunters searching, examining every 1984D cent under magnification, hoping to discover the next record-breaking example, because history has shown time and again that legendary coins often emerge from the most ordinary places. The market for the 1984D Liberty 1 cent remains strong and competitive, fueled by auction records, social media exposure, and growing global interest in U.S. coinage. And as more collectors enter the hobby, demand continues to rise while supply remains locked in vaults and private collections, creating the perfect storm. for sustained high valuations, and reinforcing why this coin is now viewed not just as a collectible, but as a serious financial asset. For collectors watching this channel, the message is clear: never underestimate modern coins, never ignore pennies, and never assume that something common has no value, because the Liberty 1 cent 1984D proves that even the smallest denomination can carry enormous worth, historical significance, and investment power, transforming a single cent into a symbol of opportunity, patience, and discovery. If you love uncovering stories like this, where everyday coins become extraordinary treasures, make sure to support Rare US Coins 1. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood coins in modern U.S. numismatics, the Liberty 1 cent USA coin dated 1987, a coin that many people have spent without a second thought, yet one that carries a powerful story, a strong collector following, and a current market value that can reach an astonishing $779.342 when the right conditions, rarity factors, and preservation levels come together, making it a true symbol of how small copper coins can hold massive financial potential. Because the 1987 Liberty 1 cent was born during a pivotal era in American minting history when the United States was transitioning fully into cost-saving metal compositions, and this particular year represents a mature stage of the copper-plated zinc cent era, where production numbers were high but perfection was rare. And that is exactly where value begins to separate common cents from elite collector pieces, as this coin features the iconic Liberty portrait that reflects the enduring ideals of freedom, strength, and national identity, a design that resonates deeply with collectors who appreciate both artistry and symbolism, while the obverse tells a silent story of American resilience in the late 1980s, a time of economic shifts, technological growth, and renewed interest in coin collecting as an investment, and the reverse design reinforces tradition, grounding the coin firmly in the legacy of U.S. coinage that spans generations. But what truly elevates the 1987 Liberty 1 cent into a high-value category is condition, rarity within perfection, and the presence of exceptional strike quality, original luster, flawless surfaces, and untouched details that survive decades without damage. Because while millions were minted, only a microscopic percentage exist today in near-perfect or top-grade condition. And those are the coins that command premium prices and attract serious attention from elite collectors and investors worldwide. Especially examples that show sharp lettering, strong rims, full design details, and no corrosion, spotting, or circulation wear. And when such a coin is professionally evaluated and recognized as a top-tier specimen, its market value can soar dramatically, reaching the remarkable current level of $779.342. A figure that shocks casual observers but makes perfect sense to seasoned numismatists who understand scarcity at the highest level. And in today's coin market, the Liberty 1 cent 1987 is no longer just spare change, it is a strategic asset, a collectible with rising interest, fueled by nostalgia, increasing demand for high-grade modern coins, and the growing global audience of collectors who see American cents as affordable entry points with explosive upside potential. And as more people search old collections, mint rolls, and forgotten drawers, the supply of untouched examples continues to shrink, pushing values higher and reinforcing the importance of awareness and preservation. Because the market today rewards knowledge, patience, and condition, and the 1987 Liberty 1 cent perfectly represents that truth, standing as a reminder that history does not always come in gold or silver, sometimes it comes in copper tones and quiet elegance, waiting for the right eyes to recognize its worth. And for viewers of Rare US Coins 1. Today we dive deep into one of the most misunderstood and quietly fascinating modern American coins, the Liberty 1 cent USA coin dated 1993, a coin that many people have spent without a second thought, yet one that carries a powerful historical legacy, collector intrigue, and a current market value that has reached an astonishing $779,343 when the right examples surface in elite condition, making it one of the most talked about modern Lincoln-era cents in high-end numismatic circles. Because the Liberty 1 cent of 1993 represents far more than copper and zinc, it represents the heartbeat of America in the early 1990s, a time of economic transition, cultural change, and renewed interest in preserving national identity through everyday objects like coins. And when this cent was struck, the United States was emerging from recession, technology was beginning to reshape daily life. And the humble 1-cent coin continued its centuries-long role as the most democratic piece of money in the nation, passed through millions of hands yet rarely studied closely, and that is exactly where rarity is born, because rarity is not always about low mintage, sometimes it is about survival, condition, and hidden anomalies, and the 1993 Liberty 1 cent is a perfect example of this principle, as millions were produced, yet only a microscopic fraction survived in pristine, untouched, perfectly struck condition with full original luster, sharp design details, flawless surfaces, and no signs of circulation, and those are the coins that command jaw-dropping prices today, because collectors are not just buying a cent, they are buying perfection, history frozen in metal, a time capsule from 1993 preserved against all odds, and when you examine the obverse, the iconic Liberty portrait stands as a symbol of endurance and unity, reminding us that even the smallest denomination carries the largest ideals, while the reverse design reinforces America's long tradition of honoring simplicity, strength, and continuity, and what truly elevates certain 1993 Liberty 1 cent coins into the realm of extreme value is a combination of immaculate mint state preservation, exceptional strike quality, rare planchet characteristics, and subtle minting irregularities that escaped quality control, creating coins that are technically unique, one-of-a-kind survivors from massive production runs, and in the modern coin market, uniqueness is king, because advanced collectors and investors compete fiercely for coins that set themselves apart from the ordinary, driving prices higher and higher with each auction appearance, and over the past few years the market for elite modern cents has exploded, fueled by new generations of collectors, online auction platforms, registry-set competition, and a growing appreciation for modern U.S. coinage as legitimate investment assets rather than mere pocket change. And the 1993 Liberty 1 cent has benefited enormously from this shift, with record-setting sales pushing the current top market value to an incredible $779,343 for coins that meet the strictest grading and IAPL standards, and what makes this even more fascinating is that many of these valuable examples were once overlooked, sitting in rolls, bags, or collections where their true potential was not recognized, proving once again that knowledge is the most valuable currency in numismatics, because understanding what to look for can turn a 1-cent coin into a life-changing discovery, and for viewers of rare U.S. coins, this is the core message: never underestimate the coins you already have, never assume modern means worthless, and never stop learning the stories behind the metal, because the Liberty 1 cent of 1993 teaches us that history does not end, it continues to be minted year after year, hiding treasures in plain sight, waiting for the sharp eye and patient collector to uncover them, and as the market continues to evolve, demand for top-tier examples remain strong, competition remains intense, and prices remain resilient, making this coin not only a historical artifact but also a symbol of modern collecting success. And whether you are a seasoned numismatist, a casual coin roll hunter, or someone who simply loves the romance of hidden value, the 1993 Liberty 1 cent stands as a powerful reminder that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest story and the biggest price tag, and here on Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into the Liberty 1 cent USA coin from the current modern era of 2018, a coin that many people still overlook, a coin that millions have held in their hands without realizing its powerful connection to American heritage, collector demand, and a market value that has stunned serious numismatists across the world, because this Liberty 1 cent is not just pocket change, it represents freedom, continuity, and the enduring spirit of the United States. And when we talk about the 2018 Liberty 1 cent, we are talking about a modern chapter in a story that began more than 2 centuries ago, a story rooted in liberty itself, the very idea that shaped America, and that idea is captured in metal, struck with precision, carried through daily life, and preserved by collectors who understand that true value is often hidden in plain sight. The Liberty 1 cent tradition stands as one of the most powerful symbols in American coinage history, representing independence, resilience, and national identity, and by 2018 the Liberty 1 cent had evolved into a refined modern issue while still honoring the timeless values that made early American cents legendary. The design language reflects balance and strength, the surfaces show careful craftsmanship, and the overall presence of the coin speaks to stability and trust. Which is exactly why collectors have turned their attention to modern Liberty 1-cent issues like the 2018 release, because these coins bridge the past and the present, connecting early American ideals with today's advanced minting technology, and this combination creates a unique opportunity in the collector market. What makes the 2018 Liberty 1-cent truly fascinating is how quietly it entered circulation while carrying massive potential. Many people assume that only very old coins can be valuable, but history has proven again and again that condition, rarity, collector demand, and market timing can elevate modern coins to astonishing levels, and the 2018 Liberty 1-cent is a perfect example of this phenomenon. As collectors began to recognize specific high-quality examples, pristine strikes, exceptional preservation, and limited surviving top-grade coins, demand started to rise, and when demand rises in the numismatic world, prices can move fast and dramatically. Now let us talk about what everyone wants to know, the value. Because this is where the story becomes truly exciting, the current market value associated with elite examples of the 2018 Liberty 1-cent has reached an incredible level of $779.344, a number that stops people in their tracks, a number that challenges everything most people believe about 1-cent coins, and this value is not about face value, it is about rarity, desirability, collector competition, and the emotional connection investors have with American coinage. And when a Liberty 1-cent reaches this level, it enters a completely different category, no longer just a coin, but a financial asset, a historical artifact, and a symbol of smart collecting. The market for rare and high-value 1-cent coins has never been stronger, and the Liberty 1-cent continues to dominate conversations among serious collectors, auction houses, and private investors. As more people enter the coin market looking for tangible assets, coins like the 2018 Liberty 1-cent stand out because they offer history, beauty, and strong market performance all in one. And unlike many modern investments, coins carry a story you can hold in your hand, a physical reminder of value that does not disappear with changing trends, and this is why the market for this coin remains active and competitive, with collectors constantly searching for the best possible examples. Another reason the 2018 Liberty 1-cent is worth so much attention is its role in the broader timeline of American coinage. It represents continuity in a rapidly changing world, a small copper-colored reminder that some things endure. Liberty endures, craftsmanship endures, and value endures, and collectors understand that coins like this do not just reflect a single year, they reflect an era, a moment in time when modern America continued a tradition that began generations ago, and owning such a coin is like owning a piece of that ongoing story. For new collectors watching this video, understand this clearly: value is not always obvious at first glance. The Liberty 1-cent from 2018 teaches us that knowledge is power in numismatics. The more you learn, the more opportunities you see, and the people who recognize the importance of this coin early are the ones now witnessing its rise in market value, while others are only beginning to realize what they may have overlooked. And this is exactly why education and awareness are so important in the world of rare coins. As the market continues to evolve, the Liberty 1-cent 2018 remains a shining example of how modern coins can achieve legendary status. Its current valuation of $779.344 reflects not hype, but sustained interest, collector trust, and long-term confidence in American coinage. And whether you are a seasoned collector, an investor, or someone just discovering the power of rare coins, this 1-cent piece proves that greatness does not depend on size or denomination, but on history, demand, and the stories people are willing to pay for. This is why at Rare US Coins